I'm Rachel, and welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. Today I'm going to talk about embracing impermanence. I miss my childhood. I would think that a lot of people feel that way. Um, Although I feel like maybe I feel it more than most people. I think I've been drifting more into acceptance and moving forward, but it sure took me, it seems, a heck of a lot longer than I think my brother and my sister. um I have so many vivid memories from growing up. I miss riding my bike in the parking lot and running over a milk carton with a brand new friend. You know who you are if you happen to run across this. And I miss walking into my sister's room and asking her to play school with me. And I miss holding my mom's hand while I fell asleep at night. I slept with my mom for a uh, unusually long amount of time. It's too embarrassing to say out loud, but I used to hold my mom's hand when I would fall asleep at night, and I miss that. I miss that comfort. I miss my brother's presence. Just plain old, I just miss his presence around me, him poking at me, which wasn't even just when we were kids. He still does it when I see him. But I just miss having him around me. Um, I miss playing Atari. I miss us. I miss us all laughing together. You know, when it just kind of happens and it's unexpected on a regular old day and everybody just laughs at the same time at something. I never understood how my brother and my sister seemed to move on faster than me. That's what it felt like to me. And this isn't to say that any of us are wrong or that I think they didn't miss me or anything. I know that's true, that they miss me and that we all love each other the same. It's just that I don't know if it's because like my marriage didn't work out and theirs did, or what it was, but or that they moved out of our hometown and I didn't. I'm not quite sure what seems to or seemed to have me hanging on so tightly to the past. Um, I feel like a lot of my challenges in recovery from sobriety were thoughts of just missing what used to be, you know, my family that used to be. And when I went to a therapist the first 2 years of my sobriety. So this was 7 years ago through 5 years ago. And, you know, just like classic therapy, she was asking me, you know, stuff about my childhood and stuff. And I don't have anything bad to say. I didn't have any kind of like screwed up childhood or anything like that. I had a wonderful, beautiful childhood. I just remember being surrounded by love and nothing traumatic happened to me or anything like that. Um, and I shared yesterday, I think it was yesterday, about a memory I have when I was a kid and talking to my cat and stuff, and all of that. Like, although maybe I was scared that day, I didn't have some feeling of like not being safe or anything like that. And so I feel like I just have been more resistant to change than other people. And I know that the change is going to happen whether I welcome it or I turn away from it or ignore it or cry about it or am kicking and screaming trying to stop the change, whatever it may be. And what I've learned that I think just comes with age, I'm not sure, is to notice what rises out of change. What are the things that are opportunistic that come out of change? I've never done that most of my life, certainly while I was drinking. So to the age of 40, what am I? 48. To the age of 41, I'm going to be 42 because my birthday's this month. And I was only looking back, just like the kid looking out into the ocean, watching the sandcastle be floating away rather than picking up my shovel and building a new sandcastle. I would just cling to the past. I wanted it to come back again. And I never quite saw the great things that come on the other side of change. I really just lingered in the sadness. Sadness feeds on itself, and it's just like the more opportunity I saw to be sad, the more that I felt like I had an excuse to just be depressed. I wasn't seeking joy. I certainly was not seeking joy. And after becoming a mom, I was able to see more clearly that my focus was no longer on what I can or cannot cling to from the past. It was more about providing my kids with a consistent, comforting, and reliable childhood so that they can measure change and learn how to change in their lives. And of course, we never know what's to come. We never know what change is leading us towards. A lot of the things I think the best lessons are learned not in school, but are learned just by simply being. And I think the most fortunate of us get to experience change that makes us miss what we once had. If we didn't miss it, then likely it wasn't worth having. It wasn't something that we deeply loved or enjoyed. If I didn't miss, going into my sister's room and asking her to make me a workbook. I like to pretend she was my teacher and I was the student. And she was so great about, she would make me like a little workbook like I was a student. So I could like fill in the blanks and stuff like that. I loved school. I don't know. I always loved school. But if I didn't love that so much, I wouldn't miss it. And so my mind shift over the time that I've been sober is to focus on the idea the concept that if I missed it, if I miss it now that it's gone, something's changed. I am one lucky, lucky person that I got to experience that. And so my goal has shifted to I want to make more of those. I want to make more of those moments that I'm going to miss tomorrow. I want to make stuff happen today, living in today. I want to make that stuff happen today so that I miss it tomorrow. Because one thing is for sure, that it's going to change. Stuff is going to change. And so I have to make sure that before it changes, I make sure that I'm going to miss it when it does change. And so here we are. My daughter moved out yesterday. She graduated from college. She moved out yesterday. And she's starting a big girl job, and she's going to be adulting. And her bedroom is right next door to the room that I'm in. And it's empty. There's a bed in there. There's a dresser in there. And there's a few, things here and there. But for the most part, it's empty. And when my son moved out, I felt the same exact thing. We always joke about which kid I love more. And I love them both exactly the same. And they're like, whatever. But I felt this feeling. And I still do. I don't, I'll ask my mom, does it ever go away? I don't know. I know that there's a sense of like, when they're not under my nose, I don't feel so much stress because I am a bit of a control freak. And although I don't think that I show them that I'm trying to control their lives or anything like that, when they're under my nose, their problems are my problems. And when they're not under my nose, they are off in their world and they're dealing with their problems. And they're not just dealing with their problems, but they're dealing with their joys and their love and their exciting times as well. And I feel very fortunate, just like I was saying earlier, I feel very fortunate to have had such a beautiful part of my life just filled with love because of them. And so it's pretty darn it's pretty darn difficult to be sad when there's so much beauty to look back on. And it's not like they're gone forever. They'll come back. And I learned from my therapist that because I have always had a fear of, oh dear, I can't think of what the name is. A fear of somebody leaving and never coming back. I can't think of the word right now. It's okay. I'm allowed to not be able to figure out a word. But my therapist reminded me that a relationship is twofold. There's two parts to it. There's two people in the relationship. And if I miss somebody, then I need to call them and tell them that I miss them. I have had a tendency over the years to feel like a victim. So when my brother left, he graduated and he moved out west and he was starting his life. And I felt abandoned. That's the word, a fear of abandonment. I felt abandoned because he was like my best friend. Um, and he didn't abandon me. He was moving on with his life, and I was not moving on with mine. I felt like for years I watched my brother and my sister move on while I was standing still. And today I don't feel like I'm standing still anymore. And it took me a long time. It took me a really long time to start moving. But I feel like I'm moving now. I'm really grateful that I'm on medication too. Because the sadness that I feel now is a reasonable amount of sadness. And it's not a feeling that's going to morph into an empty chasm. And I've known that so well from dealing with change throughout my life. Tonight I sat with my boyfriend and we played Battleship. He went out today and he bought a bunch of games, a bunch of board games, because he wanted to spend time with me. And we have been sitting and talking for like 2 weeks. After dinner, we just sit on the couch and talk. And what I didn't know is that he had been trying to figure out, what can we do together that doesn't hurt my head? Because we can't watch TV. We can't, do anything that's digital. The 4th of July that's coming up, we can't go look at fireworks. There's very little that I can do. But we played Battleship, and believe it or not, I have always wanted to play Battleship. I've always wanted to say, "You sank my battleship." And so tonight I did. I'm incredibly loved, and I'm alive, and I'm able to bend now without breaking. And it's because I'm learning how to recover from tough things. And I know that it's only because of these things, these changes that I have been going through, that I'm able to better embrace the impermanence in my life, even when it hurts. That's all I have tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow.